Hey, this is the Forest Park High School football show. Rusty Byrd, your host, with Coach John Robinette. Congratulations, Coach, on your first win of the season.
Happy to get it, man. Excited for to see if we can't turn one into two.
No, but it was a fun and exciting game, and it looked like you all were playing Forest Park football. You beat Riverbend 27-20. Tell me about the game.
Yeah, I mean, it went well. It was kind of a contrast to two halves. Our defense was on the field a lot, but we made really timely plays. There was a lot of what I love about this game is we had contributions. We had two defensive touchdowns. We had a pick six and then another scoop and score from about 70 yards out. And then offensively, we scored two touchdowns. And then our special teams were markedly better. We attempted a 47-yard field goal right before the half, and it wasn't short. We just hooked it a little bit left. So excited about our kicking game in that regard too. So I thought a lot of things went well. We got some things to work on, but the one thing I'm really proud of is we made plays when we needed to make plays. Our defense was not, it was kind of bend but don't break, and I don't always like playing that way. But like I said, we made plays when it mattered, and Landon Hunt, it was a tough day for him. He had a tough 120 yards. But he had a 22-yard touchdown where the O-line picked up the blitz. I was so excited for them to pick that blitz up, and there was nobody left on the second level, and he finished it. We had a 44-yard run for another score, and then just absolutely enormous at the end of the game. We converted a 3rd and 17 on running one of our basic counter plays, and Landon hit that hole at 1,000 miles an hour. It was great just to see us execute late in the game when we needed a down, because we would have had to punt, and now all we had to do was get in the victory and take a knee, and it was over. So I'm excited about the way our kids executed in big moments. We got to be a little bit better throughout the game, but in the moments when we needed it, we made plays. So I'm excited about that.
It looked like your guys were, in tune, and you all played the style of football that I love. It reminded me, I don't know if you got a chance to watch in the NFL, but you guys won like the Steelers and the Bears, my two favorite teams. You played great defense, like your defense scored. I think you didn't just stop them or get the turnover, but your defense, special teams, they were all very involved and made key plays. And that's what I saw the Bears and Steelers do. And your running game, again, Landon, like you said, I think he had about maybe 16, 17 carries with 120 yards. He was tough to bring down. And then to me, he reminds me of like the old school backs in the 70s, 80s. Like they get stronger as the game wears on. And that's because your line is wearing them down. And it all kind of came together in that fourth quarter on that run.
Yeah, we're going to see if you can, we're going to lean on you for 4 quarters, and we're going to see if you can hold up. I mean, between our line and our backs, we've got some bigger backs that are going to come downhill. So sometimes those 2-yard gains turn into 4 yards, turn into 6 yards. Fourth quarter, we're banging 8 and 10s. So it's part of the formula. And I thought, defensively, didn't like the number of yards we gave up, but we did. I mean, we ended up with 5 turnovers. We ended up with 2 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery. We stop people on 4th down. That's a turnover on downs. That's a turnover. So we had two 4th down stops. So, that's 5 possessions where we turn them over. That's becomes 5 extra for us. So, obviously we got things to work on, but man, it was exciting to win at home and enjoyed the moment with the crowd, and everyone got off the field happy. So I'm happy, and we got another home game this week, so I'm excited about that. See if we can keep it.
So you're playing, I always like this, so everybody knows, like I still remember it's TC Williams, but you're playing Alexandria City.
Yeah, this year, watching them on film, they're a little more cohesive. They're better than they were last year for sure. They got a tough front on both sides of the ball, but that matches well with us. We're going to have to, as always, we're going to have to execute. They got a couple players that you got to be aware of. They got some big bodies in the middle that you've got to, if you let them just stay there, they're going to make it hard to run on. So we got to move some folks for sure. And then offensively, they got a couple kids who can move a little bit. Their quarterback is mobile. He can get out of the pocket. They like to run some jet action and get to the perimeter quickly. And we've got to be aware of it. We got to definitely, and we got to tackle. I mean, it comes down, it's football's a simple game. You got to block, you got to tackle. If you do that better than the other team, you're going to put yourself in a really good position to win.
Anybody after 2 games that not again, not that just you're surprised, but you maybe like to point out.
Yeah, defense. Well, let's start on the defensive side.
Okay.
Bryson Young, who's been playing our nickelback or the star and our defense, he ended up having a scoop and score for 70 yards. And Nathaniel Wright was the one who forced the fumble. But
Yeah.
he's right there. And the one thing about Bryson, is he played hard against Mountain View, but he wasn't. Some of his technically, he wasn't very sound. In this game, he was just so much better, and he was forcing the edge for us and turning a lot of their power plays. Who were going for yards, but we were at least turning it back to our guys. So I thought he had an impressive game defensively, and then offensively, a sophomore named Davis Lee, he made some really timely catches. Number 11. He went up
Yeah.
there and got 2 big catches that moved the sticks for us. One resulted in a score. The other one let us chunk up the clock a little bit more when it was late. We were kind of just hanging on there. um, but Davis Lee had a big one. Carson, again, a quarterback, was impressive in the sense that he
Yeah.
did what was asked. He navigated and he managed the game. And it's not a game manager, but he's doing what he's asked to do, and he's seeing the reads. He's seeing the field, which is really good for us. So I was really impressed by those young kids. Another kid who had a good game was Mateo Moncrief, another young sophomore who plays DB for us. Um, I'm excited about that group of young guys. We're making mistakes, but what I like is I'm not seeing the same mistakes every week. So
Right.
and then another young guy, Kellen Lewis, who's a junior who plays safety for us. He gets after it, man. He's a physical kid at safety. And really, I've been happy and pleased with what he does.
I noticed is week 1, your kicker missed on the extra points, and it started this game missing the extra points. But fortunately, you scored 4 times, and you got more opportunities. It looked like after the first it looked like his confidence. I know he missed the 47-yarder, but by those extra points, as the game went on, they looked more and more like he had the confidence. They were going through, and I was like, okay, that's probably all he needed.
Yeah, well, he's a soccer player first, and we talked about before kind of the tradition of these guys, and it takes a little while. You can practice it a lot, and then first time you kick a field goal or extra point in front of 1,000 people, and the other team's coming at you for real. It's a little different, but like I said, he like you said, he righted the ship, and he did what was asked. And I mean, his kickoffs got better through the night. I mean, he put one back there about 6 yards deep. And I think he can do that on a regular basis. Just a matter of him getting comfortable and getting used to it. And I think he's been doing a great job.
We talked about Riverbend, a little bit about Alexandria City. We're going to wrap this up now, but I want to go ahead and again, this is the part where I want folks to know a little bit more about Coach John Robinette. Last week we talked about the sports you played growing up, but what are some of your favorite teams? What sports and what teams are some of your favorite? It could be on the pro or college level.
All right. Well, college level, anything Virginia Tech. That's where I graduated college from. So I'm Hokie through and through on that. So root for everything Virginia Tech, any sport. I got into women's basketball the last couple of years. It's been fun to watch them make their run, and kind of stinks that Brooks left, but we'll keep it rolling. And the football team, obviously cheer for them. So that's college-wise, anything Virginia Tech. Now, when it comes to like professional sports, I'm a Cowboys fan for football. I have been my whole life. I got it from my father.
So just so you all know, I can edit these videos. I might edit this part, but go ahead.
And it was my whole. I have 7 brothers and sisters. I have 4 brothers and 3 sisters. And we started off as Cowboys fans our whole life. And we grew up around here. And my brother Matt's a bit of a loudmouth, so it was always interesting. The old Redskins, Commanders versus Cowboys rivalry in the 90s was legit. Both teams were really good. And so those Mondays after, going to school the next day was watching your brother run his mouth, and then now you're getting in a little bit of a brawl over football game. But
Right.
he's my brother, so you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was always interesting. So as a Cowboys fan, um, and then I like it's odd. I like all the rest of the Washington teams. I mean, I'm a Wizards fan. I'm a Caps fan. My wife
Okay, yeah.
played hockey probably about 10 years ago. I had nothing to do with hockey, but now I got into it. It's fun. If you ever get a chance to go to a live hockey game,
And I was gonna. That's the same here. Same here.
there's very few live events that are just wow. It's fun to watch live. You don't realize just how fast and how physical and how hard hockey is.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're going that fast on little blades.
Yeah.
You know.
I remember talking with my kids, and we got into it, and they're young, and they're like, "Why are they messing up?" I said, "They're on ice. It's hard.
Right. Right.
You ever try to walk on ice? You're gonna slip."
That's
Like, and so yeah,
yeah.
it's good stuff. So I enjoy that.
Okay. Now, any player like you're like so I'll tell you, I grew up in the 70s, 80s, being a fan of the Steelers, and there was always that rivalry with the Steelers and the Cowboys, and going to those Super Bowls. But having grown up, even though Southeastern Virginia, still a fan of the Redskins. I love those teams with John Riggins, Art Monk, Theismann,
Oh, I couldn't
Daryl
stand those
Green.
guys.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you could. Oh, good. Oh my gosh. But so I like those. But so I like the Steelers. I like the Redskins. But a constant was affected. Being a Redskins and Steelers fan, you had to hate Dallas. You just
Yeah,
had to, And so I've continued that. And I'll be honest, it's not as fun when Dallas isn't doing as well, or and the Commanders haven't done well for a while. But like it's not fun when they're both not doing like I got some of my cousins and best friends that are Cowboy fans, and we love to give each other a hard time. But when they both stink, it's not fun.
yeah. There's
Um,
not as much on the line,
right, right.
and that's what's
Now,
that's what's unfortunate. Like our kids don't know what it's like, and as much as I dislike the Commanders, they don't have the experience. This town really would turn upside down in the '80s when
oh
the
yeah,
Redskins slash Commanders were good. It was like Sundays stuff shut down because they weren't on
yes,
TV, and as the playoffs rolled through, yeah, like I said, it bothered me because I was a Cowboys guy, but there was just it was really the whole DMV was in.
absolutely.
And I
So
think I wish they stayed or found a way to get back into DC just because I think that's where they belong.
yeah, I moved to this area the year the Skins won their last Super Bowl, and you're right. I remember because it went from them winning that Super Bowl to Dallas's run of
Yeah,
Super Bowls, and so it was a thing. It's Dallas week.
yeah,
We was you didn't just talk about it on Sunday. It's Dallas week,
yeah,
and it's huge, huge. So all right, so I'll forgive you for being a Cowboys fan. I was gonna just end the show and
yeah,
go out. But no, that's cool. So I mentioned one of my favorite athletes. My favorite athletes of all time, and kind of growing up in each sport was Walter Payton, Cal Ripken, because the Orioles were our closest
yeah.
team. So we had, these are my two favorite, the Orioles and the Braves.
I mean, going back, like I was a Cowboys guy, so I was a big Tony Dorsett guy. I thought the sun rose with that cat in the late '80s. Um, I always had. I'm of our generation, so I think Jordan, one of the greatest athletes of all time. Really
Yeah.
admire him as a coach and as a athlete, former athlete, his drive and how he committed to the process of getting better every day. And just, Last Dance was great and all that stuff. But those are the guys that I look back to. And I was a Sixers fan for a little while when I first started getting
Okay.
into basketball with Dr. J, Mo Cheeks,
Dr.
and that
J.
crew, and
Absolutely.
Moses Malone, and they're having their tilts with the Celtics, and then whoever got them got the Lakers after.
Yep.
I also think, and it might be my age, I thought our group we had kind of the golden age of sports. Like a lot of these sports were just a lot of fun to watch, and
Yeah.
and it's good that there's player movement. Don't get me wrong, everything's got to evolve, but back then players couldn't move from place to place as
Hmm.
readily and easily. So it was you're kind of stuck with that was your crew, that was your team, and those
Yeah.
players were your
Yeah.
players for long periods of time. And I can admire now that I'm in my 50s, John Riggins and the way he played. But man, at the time, I couldn't stand that cat. He was on that team
Yeah.
that busted our. They beat us and that kind of thing, and this just drive me nuts.
Yeah.
But I can
Yeah.
admire it now. But those are some of the guys that I look to. That when I was growing up, I thought, wow, they're pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right. What free agency has done, but it's the same with college. It's been like this for college basketball for a while, where I feel like I don't know the players because once they were everybody started leaving after 1 year. Like you don't have teams like Jordan played 3 years for Carolina. Lynn Bias played 4 years for Maryland, and so
Yeah.
like get into now my favorite teams are in sports are VCU and Virginia Tech. We don't have a football team, so Tech's my football team. But it's hard. Like I don't even know college basketball until
Yeah,
we
you get
get
to
to
March
the
Madness and
tournament.
you're filling out your
Yeah,
bracket, and you're not necessarily filling it like over the last couple of years. You almost look like, well, who's got the most seniors? Because they're probably going
there
to
you
win because
go.
they have the experience.
That's
Where it's
right.
not necessarily the guy like the number one, number two, number three, number four pick in the NBA draft, the one and done guys.
Well, look at Kentucky. They
Yeah,
get those players, and they've only won one in the last 20
uh,
years. In fact, it cost Calipari's job. But you get these teams like a VCU or teams that so we're a mid major, but if you get a power conference team that's more experienced, like a Carolina, and Villanova has had
yeah,
success by keeping a lot of veteran players, and they've won some championships. You're right; those are the teams that are doing it, and so it's not just now people leaving because they were going pro with the transfer portal and all that. In football, is crazy.
it's good. I mean, it's good for the athletes to have their choices. They
Oh
should have,
yeah,
but it does make it harder to follow.
yeah, yes, it does. Well, you wanted to promote an event, something that's very special and dear to you, but
Yeah,
let our folks
this
know about it.
Yeah, this week with our home game, we are celebrating what's called or highlighting what's called Morgan's Message, which is an organization that helps bring awareness to student athlete teen suicide. Morgan was an athlete from Kettle Run High School over in Fauquier, a really good lacrosse player. And I don't want to misquote the story, so if I get it wrong, please correct me, people out there. But she was an athlete who was really, really good at what she did in lacrosse and ended up, I believe it was Duke she went to, playing lacrosse, Division I lacrosse, and
Wow.
she had some setbacks, some injuries, and she was so tied to her self-worth being part of her being an athlete that she struggled and she unfortunately committed suicide. And her family and the Kettle Run High School have started this organization called Morgan's Message, which is targeted to prevent teen suicide specific to student athletes. And that is something that has become important to me and important to our community. Within the Forest Park community, we've had a leadership class led by Miss Chantel Pitts, and the group, and my daughter was part of it as well. And they've really done a great job of making this part of our community and our culture. And this week we're going to honor that. We'll be the coaches will be on the sideline wearing a similar shirt to this.
Okay.
And our players, we're hoping if we can get the socks in a time, they'll all be wearing teal socks because that's the color for Morgan's Message.
Mm.
And there'll be a short ceremony at the beginning where we're going to support that. And if anyone out there can remember to wear purple or teal to this game, it'd be great. Showing support for Morgan's Message, which is, I just think, a great and relevant organization to kids that need it.
Yeah, well, thanks, Coach. Morgan's Message. I'll put some information out there as well. But thank you for sharing that. And let's get these Forest Park fans get out there and wear your teal and purple. And then we'll be pulling for Forest Park to get a big win over
Yeah, man.
Alexandria City. So thanks again, Coach, for Coach John Robinette. This is Rusty Byrd, and give it to him, Coach.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins. There we go. All right. Thanks, Coach. All right. Hey, this is the Forest Park High School football show, and I'm here with star senior running back Landon Hunt. Landon had 2 touchdowns tonight and led the way with a powerful running attack. Landon, tell me your thoughts on the game, man.
Honestly, I wouldn't be here without my O-line. You know, I put in the work every day, but without the big man up front, none of this can be possible. So always shout out to them, man. They're hell of a dogs, man. They do everything they need to do. They push me to be greater, and I wouldn't be where I'm at without them. So
yeah, that line did an amazing job. But you broke a lot of tackles. You didn't you did work too. Let me ask you. This is a first win of your senior year. What are your thoughts on the season going forward? Now you lost to a really good Mountain View team, but this is a revenge game. They beat you all pretty bad last year. So what are your thoughts about one beating this team and then getting your first victory?
You know, beating this team was definitely one of the milestones we wanted to hit. You know, obviously they got us last year, but you know, this year we come in, we didn't want to get that bad taste in our mouth again, especially not on our home field after they came out and, you know, they were stomping on our logo, this, that, and the third, rah. But, you know, in the end, better teams play better football. So that's what we were tonight. And then going on to the season, next week, man.
Okay.
Week.
Yeah, you were carrying that rock. Do you envision, even the coach said, do you have an ideal number of carries you'd like? Because you seem to be getting stronger with each carry. Did you know going into the game, hey, I'm going to get the rock like 15, 20 times? I think you carried it about 27 times last week. Do you have a goal, or the coaches tell you, or is it just kind of what happens?
Hey, as many as they can get me to win the game, that's what I shoot for.
Okay, good stuff. Hey, look, any closing thoughts?
Next week.
All right, good job, man. So this is Rusty Byrd of the Forest Park High School football show with star running back Landon Hunt. We are out. Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Hey, this is Rusty Byrd and with the Forest Park High School football show. And I'm blessed to have with me today parents of Landon Hunt, number 8, the senior running back. Welcome to the show, Timesha and Cory Hunt.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Oh yeah. We go back. You know, I coached your boys in track, and just been friends through APYFL 703 United football. I coached there. Cory coached there. We're mutually good friends, and with the Wright family, I remember the years. Now you all was always a couple of years behind. So, but like I was coaching the flag football or watching you all practice and just being around you all, I feel like we're all family. You know, seeing our kids grow up has really been a blessing. So thank you for joining the show.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I want the Forest Park family to know. You know, we talked to Coach Robinette. We're going to have some assistant coaches on. We're going to have cheerleaders, people from the band, administrators. But you're the first parents we've had. And I want to get your perspective. Like, what is it like to be a part of this Forest Park football family? And so I want to know, what is it like to have not just a player on the team, but one of the best players on the team, in the district, in the region, and in the state? What is that like to be the parents of Landon Hunt?
You want to go first?
I'll go. Obviously, we're very proud of Landon. Landon has been just a wonderful son outside of football. Thanks for the compliments for him. That's being one of the better players. I think that's what makes Landon so special. He wasn't always one of the best players. He was even for Little League and flag and stuff, he was probably never thought of as one of those players. But one of his traits is that he just works hard. He figures out when he wants to do something, when he figured out that football was what he wanted to do, he just kind of went full force with it. So for him, I give a lot of credit to him in regard to that. You know, we try to facilitate it, but the athlete's only as good if they're internally motivated. And around his freshman year, he hit that switch and decided this is what he wanted to do. But you know, in regards to the football program at Forest Park, it's been a wonderful experience so far for us. I really like just the camaraderie that Landon has with his teammates. Even Coach Robinette jokes that where we're at right now, our house, the fun house is usually on a Friday or a Saturday or something. It's him and a lot of his buddies here, just kind of hanging out and stuff. So we've got to know all the kids and stuff, and just feel like we have like another 7, 8 sons that are here on the Forest Park team. So it's been very good.
Yeah, cool.
As a mom, I think I once said it was a nerve-wracking delight to watch him play. I think it becomes so intense for me on Friday nights, but just seeing him and seeing the joy and the happiness that he has because he's found his thing now. It has just been a pleasure watching him grow into this whole thing, because I know we always joke like his first year, his dad was like, yeah, he's not gonna make it. And
No, I seriously, I always tell them the story. It was ankle biter, 7 years old, and we're up at Chantilly. We're playing a playoff game up there, and I'm the defensive coordinator, and he's playing left defensive end, and you know, it's everybody has to have a position like in that. So it's like you either play him or you get penalized. And I'm like trying to think of ways. I was like, man, I got the worst. My son's the worst player out there, you know. But you know, he hung in there, and you know, we were overmatched by that team, and we only lost by like a last second touchdown. So, but he came into his own after that.
I think
All right.
one thing I could say about him is he is like Cory said, a really hard worker. Once he gets his mindset, I think one thing I'm most proud of him is his work ethic, not only on the field, but also in the classroom. I always joke with him because it's like he'll come home Friday after a game and say, oh, I'm gonna take a shower and I need to turn this assignment in by midnight. And on a Friday night, he will sit up,
wow,
up his work and get it turned in time. And it's paying off for him in the classroom. It's paying off on him in the field. And I just am in awe of him sometimes.
yeah. I tell you, that's a blessing, you know, to have a intrinsically motivated child. You know, now he's applying that to not just, you know, on the field, but in the classroom. And I got to tell you, I am not just saying this because y'all are here, but you're doing a great job of raising those boys. One of the things I noticed, like, Landon is not afraid to come up, say hello. He'll be like, hey, coach. And he'll look me in the eye, shake my hand. And like that goes a long way. Like a lot of young men don't have that today. You know, look, my dad was in the military, but that didn't matter. My dad was a black pop born in the 40s. And like, yo, it was like, yes, sir, no, sir.
Yes.
You know, I'm going to look you in the eye. If I gave one of my uncles a weak handshake, yo, he was on my butt. You know, so when I like, again, I know you all, but if I didn't, just you know, I'm very impressed with Landon. Like I said, I've never seen his grades, but I could tell like that young man, like he carries himself well. And I'm not just saying that as a high school senior. This goes back to when he doesn't know anybody is noticing him, you know, years ago in flag, youth football, in track. And so again, you all are doing a great job.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Oh yeah. So you know, he's done I love his game. So he reminds me of me. Now, I wasn't that tall, but I was a big back. Back in the, like, they just have the single set now, but back in when I played in the mid to late 80s, I was a fullback, well, or halfback, and I played a little quarterback because we ran the wishbone. I could be any of
Okay.
the 3 or 4 people. But I just ran hard. I used to think I had moves. And I look back at like some of my old games on TV now in Hampton Roads football, and I'm like, I had moves. I'm just like, running over people. But so I love his game. When I came up, my favorite player growing up was Walter Payton, and I wanted to play like him. And he was running people over, and so I love Landon. Landon, I love his style of play because, and I was saying this to Robinette, like that the game they just won against Riverbend, where they won 27-20. It was a game like my two favorite teams were in the NFL this past weekend, the Steelers and the Chicago Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Did you, like, if you watched either of those games, they won with defense, and they played. They took care of they took advantage of their opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to run the ball, and that's what Forest Park football looks like. That's going to be what they do, and I think Landon is like the key to especially on the offensive side. What are your thoughts, Dad? I know you coached. What are your thoughts about the football aspect of Forest Park football this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously they got a lot of talent on the team. They're trying to integrate some of the younger guys there, but I know they'll do a good job with that. But I think their staple, as everybody knows, I mean, they're going to run the football, and that's got to be their identity. And I think that really came to fruition in the fourth quarter. I think, eventually, if you're trying to chop down a tree, you hit in the same place, so many times
Yes.
you want to go down. And I think, he wasn't having a whole lot of success early on, but in that fourth quarter, he just started hitting it. And there's like 3 key third down runs that he had, especially with the final one. It was like 3rd and 17. And, I think we were just trying to get out of our own territory, maybe punt and let the defense win it for us. And he took it for like 15 yards. In the final 2, he just leaped for the first down and got 17, and they were able to go in the V formation. So for me, that sticks out, and that's the identity of his style of running, because he's worked so hard this off season. Just from all the feedback of what he needed to improve. He heard, I need to improve my breakaway speed. I need to improve, cuts and stuff. And, just last week after that game, he heard from one of the college coaches, and he said, hey, I like your vision. I like your cuts, and I like your burst. So those are 3 things that, he really took to heart, and it's a result of the work that he put in this offseason.
Yeah. No, you can tell. I love his game, and it's perfect for that offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the big boys up front, and with Nathaniel, Adozie, and it's just a number of guys, and so now they're seniors. But I like hey, yeah, they're going to wear on you. And so I'm glad that Robinette, continues to have confidence. And in that fourth quarter, like you're wearing, like you can't keep getting blocked by those guys and then have to try to tackle that running back. Like, Andy can put a little juke on you. So I love it. Just keep wearing them and pounding. Today's game is just everybody's throwing the ball around. There's nothing wrong with that, but I remember when everybody's playing like an I formation or whatever, but then if you came out there and you were running a wishbone, like, and you're the only one running it, like you have to prepare for that. Everybody right now is like, it's not a big deal. People just throwing the ball around. People have like 5 defensive backs because that's, they can't bring 5 defensive backs against Forest Park. So, they got to get in there and scheme something that week. Timesha, tell me a little bit about your thoughts as a Forest Park mom, football parent mom. What now? The game. You've been around, and you're an athlete. We'll talk about that. But what are your thoughts on how you've seen your son grow from? You can go from youth or even just his time in high school and at Forest Park, because I know as a 10th grader, he was on the varsity, but he didn't get a lot of playing time on offense. Is that correct?
Correct. I think it was, I'm trying to think, what was the Potomac game, his 10th grade year?
Yes.
We always tell him, like, you have to go and show them who you are. If you get the opportunity, like, you make the best of it. And I think that Potomac game, he really, like, we had family in town, and he just put on a show for everybody. Like, he went out
Yeah.
on both sides of the ball. He was really, like, everything seemed to be locking for him. Like I said, every week it's like my heart's in my throat because that's my baby, even though he's not my baby. But it's just watching him and just being in awe of just like, I think I've been there since we have both been there since the beginning of this. I remember him putting on when he said he wanted to play football, and I was like really nervous. I was like, wait, are they gonna hurt him? Like, I know he has these shoulder pads on. I know his dad's gonna be out there coaching, but like I'm still worried. And even now, sometimes it like my heart flutters. I'm just like, okay, a lot of this they put a lot of, like, I feel like sometimes he feels like he's a lot of pressure on him, but he always rises to the occasion. And he always has a positive attitude, and he just, I mean, you've talked to him, he's very humble, and he'll just
Yeah.
he knows what he has to do, and he just does what he has to do to get it done. Being a part of the Forest Park family has been, I've enjoyed it. I really am impressed with the school, the team. His younger brother was just like, I want to go to school in Landon, and they had their 1 year together, so it's been really cool and exciting to see that. But overall, I've been impressed with everything that we've encountered since we've been there.
Yeah, and I real quick, my mom was like, when I was little, I grew up at Hampton, and back, in the '70s at Hampton High School, Bethel, they would win all these state championships, and I remember telling my mom, I want to play. Now my stepdad, he coached, he was a football coach at Phoebus, back in the day, and I remember my mom asked me, was like, I don't know if you should play. I don't want you to get shit. So she asked me, she was like, what position can he play where he won't get hurt?
None of them.
He was like, what? No, I mean, he wouldn't want to play like, you wouldn't be the holder and the extra points or something, like, no, like
Still might get the finger kick.
yeah, like, no, he's not, God willing, he won't get hurt, but if he trains and prepares properly and plays right, he'll be okay. But yeah, and so, Landon is already having a great year. In 2 games, he's gotten over 100 yards. And I think the first game he had, like 127?
Yeah, something around there. Yeah. And then like last
Yeah.
game,
No, maybe it was 117. He had 27 carries, maybe. And then he had over 100 yards,
Yeah.
120 yards on Friday.
On Friday, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I haven't seen the stats for comparison, but for this year, and it's early, but last year, didn't he lead the district in rushing?
Yeah, throughout the regular season, he led in the Cardinal district. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's right. It was a regular season, and this region has had, and they're back, all the best ones, great running backs. You got Gainesville has
Coven Smith.
Yeah, Coven. Yeah. Patriot has Jackson McCarter. Yep. Landon. Then you've got what was going to be at Freedom, but now it's at Hayfield. Jeffrey Overton Jr. So it's a lot of talent, coming out of this Prince William County area. So to be one of those, the best running backs is great. In fact, I know he made first team all district last year.
Yeah, first team all district and second team all region. All region,
right? Oh, that is awesome. Yeah. That is awesome. You're giving that opportunity. He took advantage of it last year. Any other thoughts on Landon in particular that you want, or anything you want our viewers to know? Because after this, I want to talk about y'all.
Okay.
You go ahead.
I don't know. I think as I started to say at the beginning, just again, we're very, very proud of everything that he has accomplished so far. If it's, I know we're doing a football show, but it's beyond that, of who he is, his character, and what he's doing. I mean, here's a kid who's 17 years old, and he's taken it upon himself to get deeper in his faith. He's not home right now because he's at church. They go to church on Wednesday night, so he's taking his brother. So he's exhibiting leadership in that way. I've seen him even through Robinette exhibiting leadership with his teammates, leadership in the schools and stuff like that. So I just as a dad, as parents, outside of football, can just be very proud of him. Just kind of know that, you really don't. I really haven't had to worry about him being in trouble, not in school, and I think probably the worst thing he just doesn't do the dishes when we tell him to do it.
That's a good problem, man. I'm telling you.
His room is quasi clean.
Yeah.
Oh my, ooh, rooms in this house. Oh my gosh, the kids. I'm like, no, the worst is when you tell them to clean and then they say it is clean, and you're going, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's cool. That's good stuff.
We just said, like, this again, it cannot underscore the amount of work that he put in to kind of help refine his game, to help, because he's a team first player. Like, he doesn't really worry about his stats or anything like that. He's really focused on winning as a team. Like you asked about, we know Forest Park's identity is like a run team and everything. He spent a lot of time in off season focusing on that, but also develop his pass catching ability. So it may not be for the Forest Park offense, but if somebody gets him down the road where if he's blessed to play college football, which I know he wants to, that's another a piece of versatility that he has that he can add for that.
Yeah. Oh, good. Oh, real good. Real good. All right. So Landon is a great athlete, but it didn't just happen that way. You all are athletes as well. So start with you, Timesha, because you've been recently very active in sports. So tell us, growing up, what sports did you play, and what sports do you like, even if you didn't play it?
Oh, well, I played soccer growing up. I played all through high school. I went to the University of Pittsburgh, and when I got there, they didn't have a soccer team, so that wasn't something that I could pursue further at the time. And once I moved here, I found a team, an adult league, and I played probably all the way up until the world shut down. I mean, took breaks to have the kids and drag them to games with me, but that was my first love. But then growing up, I have two sisters and a brother, and my brother's the youngest. So on Sundays, I spent a lot of my time watching Steeler games with my dad.
Yeah.
So, diehard Steeler fan, so I enjoy watching football a lot. I did run track in high school. That was something that I did more so to stay in shape for soccer, not so much that I had a passion for it. But then later in life, I did get back into running, and I ran a couple half marathons.
Okay.
Got a lot
Wow.
a lot of medals.
As a former track athlete but track coach, I'll tell you some of my favorite, and I coached youth soccer, and my daughter did travel, but some of my favorite athletes, especially as a middle distance coach, soccer players, because you have to be in such great shape. Let me say, not the peak, but one of my peak parts of being an athlete, I was playing football, basketball, ran track, and I remember just being in PE in the 9th or 10th grade. It was the first time I ever played soccer. The PE teacher's teaching us the rules, and you throw the soccer ball out. And I was running, and again, I was in shape, and I'm running. I was like, oh my gosh, how do they do this? Like, I gave me a whole new level of appreciation. And then as I got older, I know my brother played football at Virginia Tech, but there were some guys there. Some of the best athletes that played football had been soccer players. And I'm not just saying kickers. And so one of the things I said, I don't care what sports my kids go into, or if they don't play, I want to pursue it, but I just want to start them in soccer, because that coordination, that hand-eye, the foot, like the endurance, like that is such a great foundational and base sport. And then, my daughter did continue to play, but like I love soccer athletes. So and I'm telling you, I know you have a passion, because if you are an adult and you decide I'm going to go play as an adult in a rec league or an adult league, like that means you got skills, and then you got a passion for sports. So that is great.
Now, we did start the kids out with that, and it kind of broke my heart that they didn't follow through. But
And, you know, I gave my, I'll be honest, I would, I love my kids playing, but I used to, then I'd be like, oh, this is fun. That was good. But then I was like, I would watch us at football games and it's whole different, because like soccer parents can be a little crazy, but you're supposed to be respectful. But I will tell you, and Cory, as a coach, you probably noticed, but also as a fan, the the worst I think I've ever seen parents is the football mom. Like they are no joke.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I remember I was like flagged for the kids, and we were over at like Potomac Middle School, and it was like that game time sports or something like that. And
Yeah.
and I was coaching Justin's team, and yo, these, I mean, it's flag, and the hardest people, like was moms like, you know, get little broken off moms like, get back in there. And I was like, okay. And my wife, Dr. Leah Byrd, tried to be all calm, but as soon as soccer, she would, you know, scream a little bit. You know, people look, hey, it ain't supposed to so much, but like at a football game, she would lose her mind. I've got so many times I'm recording the game, like you do, Cory, and all I hear is, oh, and she is screaming. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, she tries to be all cool, but when it's her child, and she's, you know, a counselor at Cogan High School, but she's screaming like that. Like, oh my gosh, look at Dr. Bird. But like that passion, because she's an athlete too. Like
we got a lot of video with her diving into the camera over the years.
Oh yes. So your kids, your boys, that is a blessing to have parents like that. Now, boy, I know you're an athlete too. What did you do? What sports did you play growing up?
Did them all. I guess where I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh, like we didn't have soccer at school. So
neither.
yeah,
we didn't even have it at my house.
Soccer, there was no lacrosse. It was baseball, it was football, it was basketball, it was track. So my first sport was baseball. I played that until I couldn't hit a curveball in ninth grade.
Yep.
And then I played football all since. I guess we start late back then. Kids start at 6 and 7 now. We didn't start football till I was 10 years old. So
same here. I started at 10.
Yeah, yep. Started at 10. Played for the whole Pop Warner League and stuff, and always playing basketball. Basketball was actually my first thing that I really fell in love with, and played that all through. I did baseball for my freshman year. I ran track as a youth. My granddad, who started the girls track program at Newcastle High School, which is where I'm from. So track was big. It was big to him. So he always had me in youth events. But then it kind of like middle school and stuff, we didn't really run track. And then I got back into it late, my junior year of high school. So when I reintroduced myself to track, but I was still playing basketball and football. And went to my senior year, my football year. I was, nothing like Landon, but I was getting, where I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, there's a lot of NAIA schools and D3 getting a lot of that attention. End up breaking 2 bones in my neck in one of the games there, and that just that really ended my high school season. And we just focused on basketball. So I continued to play basketball throughout high school. Was on a successful team there for 3 years. Won some championships there. And then it was moved on to track. I did that. I was a state finalist and a couple events in high school, and eventually earned a scholarship to go to Robert Morris University in Pittsburgh. So went there on track scholarship. Dabbled around walking on the basketball team, but I figured out that as it got down to it, it was going to be too much, quite honestly, because I was already committed for indoor track. I was committed for outdoor track. I was going to try to do basketball. It was just taking up too much time, so I just didn't complete that. But it was for the best. I mean, I had a really strong career with track at Robert Morris. I was one of the first people to ever place at a national event there. And then back in 2003, they inducted me into their Sports Hall of Fame. So
wow. Okay. Stuff, dog. Wow. Okay. See, look at this. This is what a Forest Park football family gets to learn a little bit more. They'll be like, now they'll be in the stands like, oh, that's the Hall of Famer dude, right?
So actually, like, it's funny, Riley, my youngest, like, even though there's a plaque in my office that says it, it was like 3 years ago, when he first got his phone, he actually went and Googled it and he was like, is this you? And I was like, he's like, didn't believe me. So
Yeah, oh wow. That's all
Yeah.
right. That is really cool. Really cool. Yeah. So look, I appreciate you all joining the show. Again, nothing but much love for your family and Landon. I'm like, for real, like, he's legit, y'all. He's that young man is going to be doing some great things. He already is, but like I look like I one of the things I love about coaching isn't just like the wins and losses, but I've had some success in terms of wins and losses. But I always tell kids, like, I'm hard on you, but underneath, I'm pretty sure you know that I really love you. And I'm not coaching you for today in this event. I'm coaching you for like 10, 15, 20 years from now, when I see you in the mall with your kids and you're like, hey, that's Coach Rusty or Coach Byrd. Like, that's my man. And that's what I want to see. And I want to be able to talk to your family and your kids about, hey, look, your dad did this. And so, and see that the impact. And so mentoring has always been a big part of it for me. And so I can see where you as a coach and as a parent, but impacting lives. But that's what I can see Landon. I see how and I talked to him and Nathaniel about it. I said, hey, man, this is your senior year. Yeah. I said, and you may not realize this. So not just, you as a player, I said, but there are 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th graders looking up to you, bro. Like, you don't even realize it. Like, I remember being in the 9th grade, going to football games, and being like, oh, that's Howard. I mean, he's great. That's Rodney Howard. That's Lynn Lumpkin. The next year, I'm playing high school football, and I moved up from JV to varsity, and I'm playing on the field with these guys that I was looking up to, and I'm like, I mean, it's a dude, Lynn Lumpkin, God rest, so he just passed away this summer, but he was an All-American for Hampton High School, played at UVA and Hampton University, but like, we tried to wear a uniform like him. Like the way he wore his horse collar. I wanted his face mask. Like, it was like Lenny Lump. Like, me and my brother, who, like, will tell, like, my brother was even, like, he's 2 years behind me, but he was like, Lenny Lump, like, yo, I wore my uniform in high school and college like him. And then my brother had the same success. And I'm like, my brother went on to be a high school All-American, all Big East middle linebacker at Virginia Tech. And I'm like, yo, dude, somebody was looking at you saying, and so how did you carry yourself, And so we were blessed, man. My mom, give her and my dad, stepdad, a lot of credit. And so you can tell when, there are people, it doesn't have to always be parents, but people are impacting young lives. And so I know that's happened with Landon, but I know I'm looking forward to when he's going to be continuing to do that as a young man in college and in society. So this has been great. Thank you all so much for doing this.
Thank you. It was.
Yeah. Any last thought?
Yeah, I just shout out the Forest Park program. I'll shout out to, I always tell Landon, he got to keep his big guys happy. So his line, Brandon, Daniel, Evan, Diaz, you got Savion, you got Elijah, all those big guys up front. He just told me he needs to take care of them. So.
Yeah. Well, when I interviewed him the other night, and that'll be a part of this, first thing he did was give credit to his line, offensive line. So that's good stuff. Well, look, thanks again. And I hope to see you all on Friday night. And we're gonna see how this season goes. So for Timesha and Cory Hunt, the parents of Landon Hunt, senior running back number 8, this has been the Forest Park High School Football Show. Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.